It is me, Dominique, bringing you my January 2021 bullet journal setup.
Going into 2021, I decided one of the skills that I wanted to work on was using watercolor. And I incorporated that in my 2021 setup, which I'll have linked down below if you want to check that out. And I decided to use that in this theme. If you can't tell, because it kind of looks like a jukebox at this point, I was trying to do an old-fashioned camera for this theme, but the longer I worked on it, the more the paper started pilling, so I switched to paper that's specifically made for painting because I didn't like how it was turning out. I also switched the color scheme a little bit because the paints that I had weren't turning out exactly how I wanted them to when they dried. As you can see, I kind of sketched out what I wanted to look like beforehand and then went in freehand pretty much with the paint. One thing that I'm trying to do with my bullet journal is realize that it doesn't need to be perfect. I have a lot of perfectionistic tendencies, and it really stresses me out when things don't turn out exactly how I want them to. So with this bullet journal, I'm just trying to teach myself that it doesn't have to be perfect. Up next, I'm cutting out the camera. I cut out a piece of paper from a previous journal and taped that over. Before that, I just put some brown lines on the sides because I wanted it to have like a little bit of border. And then I couldn't find my double-sided tape, so I ended up using glue, which made my paper a little bit wrinkly. So, you know, the more you learn. If you have tape, use tape because glue is definitely not the move. But that is what I had, so that's what I used. Over on the left, I came up with this quote. I'm not really sure if it makes sense, but it says you can try to capture the good times or you can focus on God so he can bring you through the bad times. I basically just made it up because I wanted to have a quote that went along with the camera theme. And at the bottom of the quote page, next to my title page, I made a little film canister, and it has little trees with some snow in it because even though it's January, winter is pretty much just starting. Up next, we have our monthly spread. I decided to make boxes that are 5 by 5 for this, and there are 5 rows and 7 columns. I always start my weeks off on Mondays. For some reason, that just makes more sense to me because Sundays feel like the end of the week, even though technically they're the start. After finishing the boxes, I made a little mini monthly spread. I don't really know why I felt the need to add this since I have the whole monthly spread laid out right there, but I decided to. And then I added a brown drop shadow with a Tombow dual brush pen. Again, everything that I use will be linked in the description if you're wanting to use or get any of these things. I just added a little bit of the paint that I was using initially on the first cover page, wrote January in another one of those Tombow pens, added a notes and a goals spot on the left. I added a little quote that said, "God's love for you isn't earned, rather it's a gift freely given. Will you choose to receive it?" Up next, we have my budget tracker spread. I decided that I wanted to do this because as I'm getting older, I want to be aware of where my money is going, what I'm spending on, and this seemed like a good place to start. So the first column is for the date. The second one will be where I am spending my money at. And then the next 6 or 7 columns, I believe, are for each category that I could be spending, whether that's food, clothing, fast food, other entertainment, but I will put a check mark under whatever column that I spent that money under, and then the second to last column will be how much I spent, and then the last column will be how much I have left in my bank account. So similar to how a checkbook is formatted. And then at the top of the page, I just used some of my paint again and wrote budget tracker a few times and then went over with a micron. I believe that's a 0.8 size, and wrote budget tracker again. On the next page, it's just a super simple spread. I wrote groceries, meals, and brain dump. And finally, we have our weekly spread. I decided to go with a vertical setup. The weekend, Saturday and Sunday, each have half of that because I don't typically have as much going on those days. In the top right hand corner, I have my habit tracker, and I really like to put little quippy things like, "You better brush your teeth, girl," or "You better floss," or "Get up at 8 a.m. I don't know, I just think it encourages me and makes me laugh, so then I have something that isn't just bland, but rather will hype me up in my journal, because the journal is supposed to be personal, so make it for you in a way that works for you. In the top left hand corner, I made another one of those monthly calendar things so I can see how the dates are lining up, and I accidentally skipped a date, so the 30th ended up on the wrong day, but I fixed it so it was fine. And for the little design at the top, I put another one of those film canisters, and in it I wrote New Year, Same God, and added a little bit of paint over it. In hindsight, I wish I would have put the paint down first, but I didn't, and that's okay. And then I went back to the budget tracker page and put the verse Proverbs 3:9, which says, "Honor the Lord with your wealth and with your first fruits of all your produce."
I feel like we can all agree that going into 2021 is a little bit different than going into previous years because there's a lot of uncertainty. So we can choose to dwell in that uncertainty, or we can choose to have faith in God and trust in His plan, even if we don't know what it is. All right, let's go to the flip through. And that brings us to the end of today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed. I certainly did. Feel free to follow me over on my Instagram and my TikTok. They'll be somewhere here on the screen and in the description down below. If you guys have any ideas on what you want to see me do themes on moving forward throughout the year, let me know in the comments, and I will see you next time. Have a blessed day. Bye!